He's a 5-time elite coach, Legacy Club member, a Success Club All-Star 10 legend, 99 months. So next month he'll hit 100 months in Success Club 10. He's a 2013 Top 10 elite coach representing Dynasty Strong. Welcome to the stage, Scottie Hobbs.
Okay, I'm excited to be here. It was awesome hearing Josh and Mike. The thing I want you guys to know as you leave this event today is that, especially the guys in here, because I see females here as well, is that you just make a decision. I'm not going to be Josh or Mike or Scott, but I want to live life like them. I want to do life like they are and build an incredibly phenomenal and just incredibly amazing business. So I'm here to talk to you guys about the opportunities that I see for men in this business, but I always start out with a story. This top photo is a photo at the steel factory that I used to work in. I'm circled there. I'm not even looking at the photo. It shows you how excited I was about my work and being there. At this time, this was in 2010. I want you guys to know a little bit about my life and how I got started. As a man, we are the providers for the family. That's generally speaking, we want to have a great family. We want to own a great home, have a family, spend time with them, and provide for them. That's what we are. We're providers. So I'm working really hard. My dental lab job didn't work out. I got outsourced by machines, and so I end up in a steel factory for one of my church leaders. He's the CEO, so he gave me a job there sweeping floors. And I'm a hard worker. I need to provide for the family, and he says, you're a hard worker. If you can work as many hours as you want here, the only job I have is sweeping the floors. So he hires me, and I work. And I work 12 hours a day, and every Saturday for about 5 years. And at this time, my wife, you can see her in the bottom here with my 2 daughters, my oldest daughters, she was working at the Hilton Garden Inn at night. So I would go to work at 5 o'clock in the morning and get home at 5 p.m. She would go to work at 3, so she'd watch the kids in the morning, go to work at 3, drop them off at the neighbors to get babysat, and then I would pick them up when I got home at 5. And then I would watch them at home. So I'm working super hard, trying to provide for my family, and I always had big goals and ambitions for my life. I'll share some of those at the end of this presentation. But I wanted to, I knew the goals and the things I wanted to accomplish out of life, and it just wasn't matching up with what the amount of work I was putting in. It seemed impossible. So I was looking to do different types of businesses. So I went to someone in my town I knew was very successful, and he owns 17 gas stations, owner of one of the big hotels. I later found out he's the CEO of another network marketing company that's global. I didn't know that at the time, but he's a very successful business owner. And I'm asking him for tips and advice on building a business. We talk about franchises, we talk about, my sister cuts hair, so we talk about opening a hair salon, and we could be the owners and she could manage it. And through my career at Idaho Steel, starting at sweeper, I ran the CNC, the cutting machines, and I programmed them. So I started a business using Craigslist to put out advertisements and building a Facebook like page. And I started to make these custom-made signs. But the amount of time it took me to draw them and the money to pay to use the laser and the metal, I would make $1 an hour when I sold the sign for $150. If you did all of the math, I'm making $5 to $10 literally of a profit. So things weren't really working out, but I was trying all these different things. I was willing to do whatever it took to provide for my family. And then I happened to have this neighbor. He was this really jacked guy. I'm 5'11". He's 6'2", 220 pounds, and I was 5'11", 189 pounds, just fluffy, just chubby and tired and exhausted from working 12-hour days. And so I let him in my house. He's a new neighbor that moved from out of state, and he's like, hey, I heard you have 2 girls. I have 2 girls. We're about the same age. I want to make some friends. And he had a plate of brownies, so I let him in. And I just remember sitting there, I hope this isn't weird, but his biceps were bulging out of his shirt, and I just asked dude, we're the same age. We both have 2 kids. How come you look like that and I look like this? And he's like, well, he told me some advice on eating, and he's like, I strength train the high school football team. I'm the special teams coach, and if you want to come train with us, you can come with us tomorrow. And I was like, I'm in. Tell me when and where, and let's get this thing started. So he inspired me, and he invited me, but they trained at 6 in the morning, and I had to be to work at 5. So I'm like, dude, what can I do at home? And he's like, you should do that P90X workout. I see that gives people great results. So I made a decision to do P90X, and in 90 days, I committed to it. The meal plan, the program, working 12-hour days, watching my kids alone at night while my wife's at work, and I did it. And in 90 days, I lost 38 pounds. And I had abs. That's my original P90X before-after picture for the 90 days. And I'm excited. And people are noticing the changes throughout this journey, and they're like, Scottie, what are you doing? I need some help. Like, do you have any advice for me? And I'm like, just go do P90X. Go do Insanity. And I fell in love with telling people about that program and helping people get results. I fell in love with them, like, saying, dude, that chest and back workout, I about puked after doing all those push-ups. And like I loved doing that. I fell in love with that. And then one day I put my P90X pictures into a transformation video and I put it on YouTube. I'm not a coach. I don't know anything about the coaching opportunity really. I put my pictures on the P90X like page and I get scripted by about 30 coaches. They're copy and pasted messages about talking with their upline and 3-way calls, and I'm like, wow, this is the grossest thing I've ever seen. Like, I'm never gonna be a coach. I didn't really know it was like an income opportunity or business opportunity. I just thought it was a shiny title. You could be a coach and just be a part of the Team Beachbody as a coach. And so I'm like, oh, I'm never gonna do that thing. So that's my introduction to Beachbody coaching. So I didn't really want to be a coach because that's what I thought it was. I thought it was some weird thing where you private message people scripts. And so I'm watching transformation videos after I get mine up, and I watch Lindsay Matway's video, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Because she talked about losing 30 pounds with P90X, and she called Beachbody and got signed up as a lead, and she said that she was helping people, and she had just barely had her daughter London, who was born prematurely, and they incurred a few $100,000 worth of debt, and she was a bartender. And she just shared in that video, just simply, didn't say how much she made or anything, that she was able to walk away from bartending, and she was now home with her daughter during this important time of her life, coming out of ICU, and she was going to slowly pay off the medical debt. And I'm like, my mind started thinking, I'm like, maybe this, like I work 12-hour days and my wife works at night because of our couple $100,000 mortgage. Like, maybe this is the way that I can accomplish all those goals that I want and be able to have a family where we sit down and eat dinner together and play at the park together and not live these separate lives like we had been living. So I was introduced to the coach opportunity by Lindsay. I emailed her, we had a phone call, I got to know her. There was no pitch, it was just like, dude, you have great transformation. I think you would be a great coach, you should do it. And I told her no. That's cool, that's awesome that you can do that, like good for you, I'm just gonna keep helping people on the side. And then it was, and during that call she's like, here's some people to follow, and it was Josh Spencer, top coach of 2010, and Wayne Wyatt, who then went on to be the top coach of 2011. So I watched these guys, I watched Lindsay over the course of the next 8 months, and Lindsay kept following up with me like once a month, like, you're doing what I'm doing, you're just not getting paid for it. And I kept telling her no. And then my third daughter was born in April of 2011, so it's almost a complete year after that first day that I started P90X. And it was about 18 days after my daughter Alina was born, my third daughter. And I remember work at 5, I would go to the mailbox, because our life is so busy, I'd pick up all the mail, I'd take it into my office, and then I would sort through the mail so I could do my spreadsheet and my bills during lunch and throw the junk mail away right there in the shipping room. And that day it was the hospital bill, the doctor bill, the anesthesiologist bill, all the Blue Cross medical statements. And I owed like $3,800 after insurance, and we're already paycheck to paycheck, and my wife doesn't have paid maternity leave, and she's home from work. And I was scared. I was like, how am I gonna do this? And I felt this heavy weight on my shoulders. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that before, but my cubicle felt like it was spinning around, and it continued throughout the day. When I got home, it was still there. And that's the day that I signed up as a coach, where I said, Beachbody is the answer. Beachbody is the thing that can change that for me. So that's the day that I signed up officially as a coach. It's the day that my fear of failing as a Beachbody coach, or failing at being able to take care of and provide for my family became greater than my fear of excelling at this business, at becoming a coach. So I was taught this opportunity by a woman, and I started my journey. I remember having a conversation. I'm going to just mention this to you real quick. I told her I want to make $10,000 because $10,000 meant that my wife could leave her night job, and if we offset the babysitter cost in her home, like if I made $10,000, it would change our entire lives. If I could just make that in 1 year, she could be home and we could work together at raising the kids together in the evening. So I made a commitment to help change people's lives and to make that a top priority in building my business. And I had inspirations like Josh and Wayne and Lindsay to look up to and to follow. So I'm going to share with you guys some of the opportunities that I hear every day when I'm doing coach opportunities, when people email me or respond to my Instagram stories, some of the objections, and then where I see an opportunity in it so you guys can take that. The first one that I always see is this feels like a female-dominated business. Have you guys heard that before? Okay. Guys, the truth of the matter is you can get any resource in life if you can add enough value to other people's lives. All it's going to take simply for many of you guys is just changing your story. If you're saying, for example, this seems like a female-dominated business, or all the elite coaches are women, having a story like that, or I don't have enough time because I work so many hours, that story will kill your drive and your ambition, and you'll never see success in this business. So you need to change your story to something more empowering, such as there's very few men doing this business, so there's a huge opportunity for me to reach the men that need our help. Or the decision that I made is I'm gonna be the guy that shows men how to build this business just like the women are doing it. So it's gonna be as simple as changing your story. And guys, what I want you as men to know is there are tens of millions of men who are not on Beachbody On Demand, who are not using Beachbody On Demand workouts, who wanna be healthier. They're not using Shakeology, they don't know about our supplements, and they don't even know that there's an opportunity to better provide for their family, to completely change the future of their family's lives. And it's up to us to educate them on that by being an example through being proof that these products work and getting out there and doing what Josh said about marketing. So one of the other objections I see, we're going to go through these pretty quick, is that men can only sell to men. And there's an opportunity because men have an advantage to work both with males and females. So I want you guys to think about this really quick. Most men are not going to take advice from a woman on how to build muscle and achieve their health and fitness goals. They're not going to ask women for the most part. Maybe it's the ego, I don't know what it is. But men will ask other men for advice with their health and fitness. Another thing, a huge opportunity, is women will also ask men for advice on their health and fitness. So there's a huge opportunity that I think we are missing there as men, and it's time for us to step up and take care of that. One of the other ones I got was Beachbody only sells weight loss products and men are into building muscle. And I was talking to, the truth of the matter is everyone wants to be more fit, they want to be healthier, and they want to be stronger. Everyone. No matter what age you're at, you have a desire to be like that for the most part. So I was asking I have a new guy in my team. He's a personal trainer. He's got like a master's degree in exercise science, works at the university. He's 4 months into his journey. He's like a coach away from Diamond, hitting Success Club 10 every month. He's recruiting like NCAA basketball players to his team, and they're helping people with these programs and supplements. I'm like, Tate, how are you successful? I'm doing this talk for the men, you're a new guy, why are you successful? And he says, first of all, I'm just excited about an opportunity to better provide for my family. I love health and fitness. This is something my wife and I can do together, but there's a huge opportunity because the men aren't doing it, so I'm gonna do it. So I want you guys to think about it. He's just made the decision. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna do this. And he says, in all reality, we have a larger pool of people to choose from and help than the women do with so many women coaches. So there's a huge opportunity for me, so I'm just gonna take the opportunity and I'm gonna run with it. So the last one is the social media. We'll hit on this quick. I sucked at social media before. All I did on social media before was post pictures of Memorial Weekend camping, if we shot a deer, archery hunting, or when our kids were born. And then I started P90X and started posting pictures. But you can see how horrible, I'm gun showing a Shakeology box with a link to a blog. That's horrible. So I understand that if you're not into social media, I was not good at it before as well. But it's important you guys know that social media is the new marketplace. Social media is where people have their attention, And one thing I want to give you guys some advice, like all the women and some men here are going to give great tips and advice on social media and building your business. I take almost all of my advice that I get from successful companies, entrepreneurs, and influencers outside of Beachbody. What are they doing on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook to market their product, opportunity, and to tell their story? And I learned from those CEOs on how to operate and run a business. So social media is a new marketplace. It's where people have their attention. So I use social media for you guys to understand what I'm using this for, to tell the story of how I stay in shape. Like, I've been able to do it for almost 10 years now. To stay in shape for 10 years, I teach people and show people on social media how I help other people stay in shape. And then I teach and show people on social media about the opportunity to better provide for your family. And what I want you guys to understand is $500 a month will completely change almost maybe 95% of the families in the US will change their life, an extra $6,000 a year. So it's our job to educate and teach them. And I use social media as that platform. Like that post where I'm shouting out Tate for earning like $700 in his third month as a coach. Like, I'm educating people on pay raises and how much you get paid in the corporate world, how much pay raises are typically per year, and how he gave himself like a 400% raise in a month. So I'm educating my social media in that way. The next thing that I want to talk about is I don't want to appear creepy when messaging women. Guys, don't be creepy. That's the only thing. Be clear with your intentions that this is an opportunity for you to build a business. So what I do in that is I include my wife, Gabby, in my post. I include my kids all of the time in my stories, and I'm always talking about them. And I'm talking about the opportunity to better provide for my family. And I really need some water, so I'm going to come over here as we switch to the next one. I think Mike touched on this a little bit. It's hard to hear back there. But the vital behaviors, like I've heard people say, they're designed for women. And it's like the vital behaviors are equally valuable and important to everybody. Like, I improve the products work, I use the shake, I use the power greens, I use the energize, I eat the beach bars, and I do the workouts. And I read personal development books, listen to podcasts, and do all of those things. I do invites in person, I ask for referrals, I do ads, not very often, that like once, but I try things to get the story out there, to make invitations to other people. And then I recognize other people's success. So the opportunity is the same. The vital behaviors are equally valuable for everybody. So we're gonna end out, this is gonna be my favorite slide. Maybe as you're looking at this slide, write down some things maybe that you want to accomplish in your life, some things that would completely change your life. But for me, before I ever knew about Beachbody, when I was trying those businesses, I had a goal to be retired by the time I was 50 years old and have $1 million in the bank and no mortgage. That was my goal ever before knowing Beachbody. So I started this journey and started working on it. I had a goal and vision board that looked like this. And I remember, like, I made this when I was a coach, but I had one written out before with those specific goals. And I remember one day sitting at work when coaching was getting a little bit hard, like 8 months in. And I looked at the people in my work. Like, I went from sweeper to running the service and shipping department. And I was like, I can get to be like the vice president or the head engineer or the head foreman. Like, I can get there in like 5 years. I'm a hard worker. But I looked at their lives. I kind of figured out what they made. I looked at their lives. And in reality, like, what they made, if I got there, would never get me to my goals and dreams and ambitions that I had for my life. Also, they looked 20 years older than they actually were, and they were still working 12-hour days and every Saturday. And I said, I don't want that for my life. So I'm going to build this business, and these are my goals and my dreams, and I'm going to make it happen with this opportunity. So I had a goal and dream board. That looked very similar to this. So I'm going to tell you guys a story that stuck with me from the very beginning. I have a mentor named Craig, and Craig used to mentor other men in a business like this. And he would have them, he had all of them do that, but I'm going to tell a story about one guy that he was mentoring. He had this guy, as he was setting his goals, cut out pictures out of a magazine and put them up on the fridge so that he could see them every day. I had this as my screensaver at work, this one right here, because of that story. And he had a picture of it, like his wife had this dream home she wanted, and they cut it out and put it on the fridge. And his daughter wanted this pony, so they cut a pony out and put it up on the fridge. And then they wanted to go to Disneyland as a family, so there was like the Disney castle, and they cut it out and put it up on the fridge. And one day this guy called Craig, and he said, "Craig, I think I'm gonna quit." And Craig said, don't tell me you're gonna quit. He's like, when you get home from work tonight, I want you to take your family into the kitchen, and I want you to take your wife and your kids in there, and I want you to look at your daughter in the eyes and take the pony picture off of the fridge and rip it. And say, you know what, you're never gonna have this. And then take the picture of the dream home that your wife wants and say, honey, we're not meant to live in a house like this, and rip it and throw it in the garbage can. And then he said, and after that, I want you to look at all of your kids and take that picture of Disneyland and rip it and put it in the garbage. And tell them, like, we're not gonna be able to do a trip like this. And he said, I promise you, they'll take far more courage to do that to your family than it will ever take to build this business. And it's always stuck with me. So guys, I want to leave you with that. Like, come up with some clear goals and clear things that you want to do to better provide for your family. I want you guys to set those. I want you to put them up where your family can see them, where you can see them every day so that you can be reminded of that. And then I want you guys to go after. Guys, I think Josh said this, but this business is so simple. You get results yourself, you help other people get results, and then you teach them how to help other people just like you help them. That's it. This business is 95% your mindset and 5% the mechanics of all of that other stuff that you're gonna learn about. So guys, let's go out and do it. We're counting on you as men. I want this room full next year, and I want 3 of you guys in this audience up here teaching on how you did this. See you guys later.
Good.